Welcome to the 20 Podcast, brought to you by Beatsource. Make sure you check out Beatsource link, where you can DJ using streaming tracks from the internet, online or offline, and our incredible curated playlists for any occasion made by experienced DJs. It's amazing. Hit me if you got any questions. You can also use our code, the20, to get a free month on there. I think that's what you get. I don't even remember, but it's something real dope, and it's worth it. Go get it. You guys, thank you for tuning in to the 20 Podcast. I'm your host, DJ Spider. DJ Spider! That is right. We've been doing this for a minute, and I really appreciate the support from all of you. You're incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me get to today. Oh, actually, before I get into it, make sure you check my website, DJspider.com, DEEJAYSPIDER.com. I'm going to post all my gigs up there. I'm at the Floor Room in LA every week. I'm at Tao Vegas this week. I'm there every month. I'll be at Marquee Vegas as well. And a bunch of other residencies, one-offs, private events, all that stuff. I'll post it up there. So keep in touch with me or send me a message on Instagram at DJspider, DJSPIDER on Instagram. I love getting all your supportive DMs or hater DMs or whatever you want to send me. I love you either way. All right, guys, on today's show, we have an OG in the game, but also somebody who continues to innovate and be at the forefront of technology, music, DJing, and so much more. This man has one of the biggest residencies in Las Vegas at DRAI'S nightclub, playing there 3 nights a week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is nuts. Every week, spinning all hip-hop music with performances from some of the biggest artists in hip-hop every single weekend. He's been also doing radio since the 90s, from the Bay Area to Las Vegas, and he has relationships with massive artists like Drake, who shouts him out on multiple songs and is a big supporter of him. Jay-Z, which he tells a legendary story about on this episode, E40, and pretty much anyone else you can think of in the hip-hop world, music world, he has amazing relationships with. He also became one of the biggest DJ streamers on Twitch during the pandemic, doing 500 nights in a row and growing a massive community on there. He's still doing weekly streams to this day. We discussed that on here as well. He drops a ton of knowledge on this episode, and it was a pleasure to speak with him and meet him in person finally. So please welcome to the show, DJ Franzen. Here, it's the 20 Podcast, live and direct from Beverly Hills, California, and we have got a legend, a Vegas legend, a Bay Area legend, a hip-hop, a DJ legend. Come on. Just accept the compliments.
Thank you. I appreciate
Frandalay Bay, DJ Franzen. Give it up.
What's good, Spider? How you doing?
What up, yo? We got air horns. We got sound effects right now. Just envision it. It's going crazy. We got Beverly Hills cheering for you.
I love it. You know, that good California traffic.
Exactly. It doesn't look too bad right now.
No, it's chill.
We got the good California traffic, the good California weed, which I know something you've always been an advocate of.
Definitely for many years.
You know, and all that. But yo, thank you. And I know you got a million aliases. I heard you on a few other podcasts that they were like, name them off, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I got a lot of aliases.
Yeah, pretty incredible. So yeah, thanks for coming and taking the time. I know you just got off the flight. And I know you're an airplane aficionado too. I've seen you post about, like, even today you were on your Insta story, like,
yeah,
you know, what was it, G550?
No, it was actually a Global Express 7500 and a G650. I'm in the planes. I've been in the planes ever since I was a kid.
It's crazy.
I love them.
I've seen on your Instagram.
Yeah, like, I got model planes at home and everything.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I fly any plane. I fly a Cessna.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
You're not scared?
Not at all. I've been on plenty of prop planes before.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I did one in the Bahamas where I was like, are we gonna die?
Yeah,
like the guy was like, we gotta dodge the clouds, and I'm like, I don't know if this is
like
good.
When you go to Turks or, you know, one of those smaller islands.
Yeah.
You know, you'll fly into like an international airport, but then you have to take the smaller prop plane to take you to the island. Yeah,
that's what it was.
It's a little sketchy, but you know,
a little bit.
Yeah. It's worth it though. Once you get to your destination,
definitely worth it. Yeah, we landed on just like a strip in the middle of the ocean, and we went to like a private island. I'd never done anything like that. Because I thought, we're gonna be on a private jet, but it was a private plane. You know, where they had to literally install the seats in front of us. Like, damn.
That was recently?
No, that was probably 10 years ago. We went to I probably could talk about it now. At the time, I had to sign this whole NDA thing, but it was a private event on David Copperfield's private island that he owns in the Bahamas that he just lets certain people throw events. So they were like, you fly to Miami, you go to this other airport, you get on this crazy little plane, they fly you to just a strip in the middle of the ocean, and then some dude just shows up in like a boat where he's like doing it from the back, like, that's amazing. And he's like, hop on, and then you just get in with your DJ bag and whatever. And he took me to a whole area with yachts, and they're like, you're gonna be sleeping on a boat, and I'm like, I'm not sleeping on a boat for this gig. And they're like, no, you don't understand. And we get there, and it's like these kind of yachts that are like, $250,000 a week, like, to rent.
Right.
And there's a few of them, and then a few other ones that are probably like 100 G's a week to rent. And they're like, all right, those are the staff yachts. I'm like, what is going on here?
Nice.
So I had never experienced anything like
that's
that.
on my. Now you inspired me. That's on my bucket list right there.
That was crazy. And then they'd be like, you have three or five gigs, and they're like, they'll pick you up each day. One of them is like on one of the hugest yachts for 7 people. I do a disco party for like 7 people in this yacht.
That's amazing.
And then they go, the other one's on a beach that only shows up a few times a day. They figure out when the tide goes down, and we're gonna put a booth. And I'm like, what is happening? And then another one was on this private beach, and they literally bought a dude from Guitar Center, like a human. Like, it was like,
to put everything together.
I sent them my rider, and then I get there, and there's just some dude named George waiting, and he's like, what's up, man? I got all your stuff. And it's just new, bought from Guitar Center.
It's still in the box.
And I go, oh, yeah. I go, so you're the sound guy? He goes, nah, I work at Guitar Center. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, they just told me, like, if we pay you, will you sign this non-disclosure agreement and come to an island and set up equipment? And I was like, sure. And I'm like, and I ended up having to sleep in a room with this guy the whole 4 or 5 days, and I'm like, me and George just hanging. And like, he ended up hooking up with a girl from the wedding and sleeping on one of the big boats, and the wedding planner got so mad. And I'm like, George is living his life out here.
What are you doing, George?
George tells this story somewhere. I've never seen him since this day.
Yo, shout out to Jorge out there.
Shout out to Jorge Miami Guitar Center if you're listening. Like, they literally just paid for this dude to just quit his job or come out. I don't know what happened.
I love it, man. I love stories like that.
So, sorry. I don't want mean to get on your stories, but
no. That's amazing. I like those type of stories.
That was crazy. I remember coming home, like, from the island. I didn't know how we were going to get off, and we got to the Bahamas, and then we got to Miami and got to L.A., and I had a gig, and I was, like, in some small bar in West Hollywood, like, none of you understand where I just was this morning. Like, I was like...
And that's the beauty about DJing. Like,
right?
People will see you at a certain location, and they don't know the stuff...
No.
The stuff you've seen and been through.
Right?
Even the lows. Like, even the lows.
Yeah, well, that's the truth, 100%.
Like, they don't see that.
Right. When people are like, you're killing it, and you're like, you don't even understand what I went through to get here, what we all went through the past few years for the pandemic.
Yeah.
You're right. They don't see the lows or the highs. They have no understanding of it, really.
Very true.
I mean, you really made the best out of a horrible situation, I feel like, with the pandemic, as far as just the streaming. I mean, you were, like, on top of the world in Las Vegas doing DRAI'S, and, anybody, you would drive by DRAI'S, and it was like your kingdom, your home. Like, you had built this insane night and just vibe and just whole different world, I feel like, for Las Vegas. Yeah. Every other club is following the same rules or competing with each other, but on the same playing field. Mm-hmm. And you're in a completely different planet. You know what I mean? With just as big parties, if not bigger, and massive artists, and creating almost concert level performances. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what they even try to do at a lot of other places with a DJ, but you're doing a performance, and just the way that you brought that whole no EDM thing, and you stick to your guns, and you're able to control such a huge room with hip-hop music, no matter if it's hip-hop music from 20 years ago or from that morning,
right,
is pretty incredible, I think, and that's something I think a lot of DJs can learn from and probably can look up to try to attain and try to, get there. Like, so yeah, props to you, for that. I mean, I think that's massive, and that's something that people can learn from, just sticking to your guns, trusting yourself, not giving into pressures, outside, no matter what happens, and just something that I even, as an experienced DJ, maybe not struggle with, but want to always learn more about is that controlling a huge room, utilizing only one genre or hip hop music and the microphone, and just make DRAI'S almost feel like a house party, but in a amazing professional world-class way. You know what I mean? Not like it's some little thing, but you give it that vibe, like how do you do that?
I think it's just, first of all, it's adjusting to the time, because I've been doing it for so long.
Yes, you have.
And I think a lot of people from my era didn't know how to adjust with the changes in time.
Right.
As far as whether it's music, fashion, or whatever is going on.
True.
Whatever, pop culture, whatever is popping at that time.
Yes.
You have to adjust to these things. And I've always known that hip-hop was a special genre, because with hip-hop, comes R&B, comes the reggae, comes, of course, the funk and all the essence, the samples of where that came from.
Right, all the ingredients that are put into that amazing cauldron, of hip-hop,
It just gives me a different type of vibe. I don't have nothing against EDM music, but it's
of
just,
course.
I've never been able to vibe towards it, what I mean? Like, I grew up, in the 90s, where we had soulful house music from Chicago, Detroit, the Robin S's, the Rosalas,
right?
The CNC music factories, and coming up in that era, it was just, it's a feeling. Music has always been a feeling to me,
right?
And if I can't feel it, if I can't vibe to it, I can't play it. I can't fake it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And
that's the truth.
Yeah, and I've always been around hip hop. Like it's been with me ever since I can remember. When some of my first records, buying pieces of vinyl with my own money. We're talking about LL Cool J, I'm Bad.
Yeah.
Beastie Boys, Paul Revere.
Right.
I'm 11 years old.
Crazy.
And these records are the records that changed my life.
Right.
Not to mention Planet Rock by African Bambaataa, Soul Sonic Force.
Yeah.
That's really the record that changed my life, because I seen my cousin put that record on the turntable and started scratching with it. I was like, that's what I want to do. I was super young.
That's so dope.
And, that's what sparked it all.
Was that your first introduction to DJing for real, like up close? Your cousin?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Because even my cousin was like, you want to try it out? And as soon as I did it, I was like, man, that's what I want to do.
Oh, that's crazy.
And, till this day, like we were just talking about it earlier, I still use turntables. Like on my rider, I need turntables.
Right. Yeah. No, I see that to this day. Every picture, I posted a picture of you today asking for questions, and, it's from DRAI'S really recently, and you got the whole turntable set up right there. And I think it's important, like, in the same way we're talking about everything else, you stay true to what makes you feel good and authentic and genuine, and be able to do the best
It's
job.
about being comfortable to me, too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't knock anybody using controllers or CDJs, because at the end of the day, you're there to please the people that's in front of you, whether it be 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And they're hearing the music. They're not looking at what equipment you're using.
No.
There's only a small percentage of people in that club that's going to be like, yo, I wonder what kind of equipment he's using.
Right.
There's
always that one guy that comes up to you.
At the end of the day, it's about how the
how
the product comes out when you're delivering the music.
That's true. Yeah, and I think that plays into what we're saying, where your genuine love of hip hop and music and whatever vibe you're bringing to the table shines through at your gigs, whether they're digital or in person. And I think that's why you're able to really translate that to anything from Twitch to DRAI'S to all your other amazing, gigs that you do.
Yeah.
I mean, do you ever drop songs that maybe don't work, like at DRAI'S in such a big room,
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Like, how do you recover from stuff like that,
I take a look at the room, see how certain people react to it.
Yeah.
And if nobody's really feeling it, I'm I'm trying to get out that song ASAP.
Yes. Right.
You know, but at the same time, if you have a good feeling about the song and the people don't really know it yet, because you know how people are.
Yes.
They're not accustomed to brand new songs.
Yeah, new things are just weird to them.
But there's certain songs, like for instance, I remember when Ooh by Young M.A. came out, I was like, oh yeah, this sounds just like Hot by Bobby Shmurda. By Bobby Shmurda.
Yeah,
I'm
same
like,
drum
this
pattern.
is gonna work out right away, and it did.
Yeah,
it did. You know what I mean? There's just certain records that's when they drop, you know they're gonna work.
Yeah.
But then again, there's certain records they might not feel it because you know certain types of music has to grow on you.
Yes.
You have to hear it a certain amount of times to really be like, oh, okay, now I'm feeling it.
Right.
You know, so if the room's not feeling it, but I know it's going to be a special record, I'm like, all right, you guys are going to be asking for this in about a month. It's all good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I guess there's that fine line between breaking a record or just trying to force them to listen to something they don't want to listen to and then losing the crowd.
A perfect example is I heard my boy E. Feezy playing City Girls Act Up. This is before radio, before the video was out.
Right.
And I heard it. I was like, yo, what's this? He was like, yo, I need to send you this record. It's going to be one of the hottest records, you know, for the summer.
Right.
And as soon as I got back to Vegas, I played it. I think it was like 2 days later I played it. I was in Miami on Tuesday, and I was back at DRAI'S on Friday night.
Right.
Played it, and the reaction was like they didn't lose it. I was like, yeah, this is a hit record.
Yeah, hit record.
And you could still play that record till this day, and
for sure,
it's still working.
Oh yeah, they'll sing all the words.
Yeah.
It's like great tempo for DJs to play. It's
most
fun,
definitely.
like feels up tempo.
Yeah,
you know?
It's that tempo.
Yeah,
98.
exactly.
Like we love that tempo.
Right, shake your ass tempo.
Right, exactly.
And just it feels good. I mean, sometimes I love all different tempos, but sometimes the slow shit can really kind of get repetitive after a while.
Most definitely.
And I think with the advent of DJ pools, shout out to DJ City and all the DJ pools, but there's an element of having an intro to every song that makes the DJing sound repetitive. Like it's kind of nice to use the real song, or even if you're using the intro, have a button where you then boom, bring in the part with just a little piano and then going, yeah.
It's funny that you say that because I tell DJs all the time, like that are coming up and ask me for advice.
Yeah.
And be like, yo, what advice do you have for me? I'm like, sometimes or most of the times, you got to play the song how people know it as.
Right.
You got to, who cares if you're not mixing it? If you drop it on a one and it's coming in the right way, that reaction you're going to get. For instance, No Scrubs by TLC. As soon as females hear that those strings, it's over with. It's a different type of reaction to where if you're playing an 8-bar intro and it goes right into the words. The reaction.
She's like, a scrub is a guy, and then people are like, oh, it's almost like it's too late.
Right.
You missed it.
Exactly.
You're almost better off just going, and then play the intro.
Exactly.
Because it's the same, I feel like, psychological thing that EDM does to people in the very, like, visceral or, basic way that it's just the up and down. EDM is a roller coaster for people, and it's for people that maybe are into different kinds of music, but that's why sometimes in Vegas, they don't even know what they're listening to with the EDM stuff. It's just mindless. But it does this up and down, like when you're at Magic Mountain, where you're like, oh, we're going down. Oh, we're back up. We're up. We're down. We're up. We're down.
Right.
And that's why some of the sets sound so boring. And then the people that know how to DJ can do good sets in that genre. But same with hip hop. I feel like it can just be the same thing, over. And it's those lows that then bring the highs up so much and make people just have that, like, feeling of, like,
And that's why I like to play, like, I like to mix my setups and actually go back to the nostalgic shit.
Yeah.
Because it makes the people who are really music fans, it takes them back to that time.
Right.
I've always said music is a timeline to our life.
Oh my God, it's so true.
know?
I say music's like a time machine or something, so it's
really
a similar
is.
because you can almost place everything in your life on the timeline. Like it is, timeline is a better way to put it because it really sets those markers in your life where you can remember how you felt, how you dressed, what you ate, who you hung out with, everything. Yeah. And it brings back the memories and the smells and every thought comes alive
who you were
to the
dating
music.
at the time, like who your girlfriend was. You guys had that special song.
Right? That's so crazy.
That's our song.
Yeah.
You know, that's what music does. It has that type of effect. You know, it has its highs, it has its lows. Music can make you feel happy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it could make you feel sad.
Right.
Sometimes you just want to break a couple of champagne bottles. Like, you know, it's a roller coaster for real. Like the emotions and the sound of music is a special place, especially those who really endure and love music. Like it can, especially if we play music. Like for DJs, like I got my boy Big Chunk here. You know, he does like the Shore Bar in where's that at? Santa Monica? Where's that at? Santa Monica. And he'll send me like footage. I'm like, man, you got those people going crazy right now.
Nuts. That's right by the beach. And Giorgio, the legendary Italian food.
I'll be inspired by that. You know what I'm saying? Whether if it's a song he played or how he got the crowd going, it's just it's inspirational. And that's the impact music has on people.
Right. Exactly. And we're constantly learning as DJs. That's what I was talking to someone last night, and he's telling me about some deep house group that I don't know about. And I'm like, and I've had to learn over the past couple of years about all this deep house music and different things because I'll get hired for private events and they're like, oh, we're into Burning Man or we're into this, but we want to hear your style, but we want to also hear some of this stuff. Right. And I'm like, how can I bring this music genuinely into this but not feel fake, and figure out a way that I can DJ it and still play the funky versions or whatever they are, and I'm just endlessly learning about new things,
I think that's everybody. That goes for anybody and everybody. People who've been around music for 50 years.
Yeah.
The Quincy Jones, he's still learning, he tells me.
Totally. Yeah. He's the ultimate, you know what I mean? Because he's still out there. Like, I'll go DJ Sundance Film Festival and I'll see him and he'll be at Tao in the front with people listening to music till 4 a.m.
Yes.
And like, I, was lucky enough to DJ his, in Toronto Film Festival. I did the Netflix documentary, The Premiere Party.
Oh, yes.
I was so nervous. Like, beforehand, like, for days, I was just going through every single song he's ever produced, been a part of, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? He's going to be there. And, I remember, like, I'm like, is he going to be listening? Like, what's going to happen? I remember I played George Benson, Give Me the Night, like,
oh, wow,
for him to walk in. Because they were like, he's coming in. I'm watching everybody in there, and I'm like, he's coming in. I'm like, what would be the perfect song? Like, if I'm making a movie in my head. That's what I feel like when I'm doing these parties. It's like I'm making a movie in my head. And so I want to see him walk to that song. You know what I mean? Just the beat. So I did it, play it. He walks in, and then he ends up sitting in this section. And they were like, Quincy doesn't drink. He just eats ice cream now. So we got to have multiple pints of ice cream in a freezer next to his couch where he's sitting. And I'm like, wow. I need to get to that level. And they were like, he's also pissed off because the event is like at 7 o'clock or something, which is way too early for him because he likes to sleep all day and stay up all night. And I'm like, this man is living my goals. Like, you just eat ice cream and sleep all day. And then obviously he beyond earned it, and he's the biggest legend on earth. But I was like, what? This is crazy. And he comes in, and so I do the whole night. I'm like watching to see if he's like bobbing his head, and I wasn't sure if he heard the song. And I had another version, like an extended one, where it just breaks down to some of the instruments.
Man.
And so at the end, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drop it like at the very end. So I play it, and then they go, hey, you want to meet, Mr. Jones? You want to meet Quincy Jones before you go to the next gig? Because I had to run out. I'm like, yeah, of course. And I go over, and I'm like, yo, nice to meet you. He goes, hey, man. You played George Benson, Give Me the Night twice. And I'm like, oh, God. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. He goes, no, I love it. That was great. And then just proceeds to, like, tell me the craziest industry stories within, like, 8 minutes. You know what
Guaranteed.
I mean? He's like, what's your sign? I'm like, Capricorn. He's like, oh, my son's Capricorn. I'm like, oh, can I get adopted? And he's like instantly like, I got to tell you about George Benson. He's like, he's the first person, I produced it on my label, Quest Records. And he's like, telling me just crazy. Like, Frank Sinatra wanted to be on the label, and I told him, I'm only doing it if you're on my label, and that's it. And he's just like giving me lessons, within a second.
Yeah, he's definitely told me some Frank Sinatra stories.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was just my super short, thing with him. But yeah, what are your interactions with him? I mean, it sounds like you've talked to him and got to know him.
My early days at DRAI'S, I've been at DRAI'S 8 years, actually going on 9 years now.
Wow.
Of course, minus the pandemic.
Right.
You know,
But Dre, I mean, and for people that don't know, Dre's has been an institution as a late night spot in Vegas.
After
and
hours.
was like you would go and you would come out and the sun was blazing in your face every single
it's about to
time,
happen
no
again
question.
This summer. Oh yeah.
And then it became, they built the Cromwell Hotel. Victor Dre opened a Dre's Hollywood, actually. I was resident there every week.
Yes,
I met the Waits brothers. And
I remember doing a couple parties over there on the rooftop.
On the rooftop.
Amazing
It was
venue.
pretty legendary
Yes.
thing. I met Rihanna. Like, so many things happened there. It was incredible. And that was actually how I got my residency at the Wynn through the Waits brothers at Trist. I did every Friday at Trist, and I was doing XS before it was EDM. They were having me bring in, like, things, Travis Barker, and, like, they were just experimenting. I don't know.
That's when the DJ booth was like.
No, they had just put it in the front.
Okay.
And they were trying to figure out what to do. So, like, I remember we did a night for Magic Convention. They asked me what to do, and we did it with Famous Stars and Straps, and it was me and Travis Barker, and they let him book the people, and he brought in Lil B. From the Pack.
I remember.
Which at XS,
I remember that event.
Was a weird booking, and like it was just that whole night.
You said that was during the Magic Convention?
Yes.
Wow.
This had to be over 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
This was
it's not the same.
pre-EDM, because I remember going to dinners with them, and they'd be like, "Yo, have you heard of this guy Calvin Harris or Avicii or Afrojack? Like these people, we want to book them, but they want $25,000. Like, we'll never
Not
pay
anymore.
anybody that."
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like, fast forward to like people getting paid $400,000 to DJ for 90 minutes in the day, then going to take a nap and getting another $400,000 at night.
A pre-recorded mix at that too.
Yes, yeah. I remember hearing a story of someone that DJ'd at the pool in the day for like $400,000, then took a nap. They couldn't wake him up to come get another $400,000 at the club at night. I'm like, yo, what is happening? Like, it was a crazy time, but. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but the Dre's, I'm trying to teach everyone about Dre. So we had Dre's Hollywood, and then Dre's Vegas became, they opened the Cromwell, and they opened Dre's Vegas, and it was mind-blowing. Mega club, these screens on the ceiling, and just unreal. Like, I remember, I think I DJ'd the grand opening or something.
Crazy.
And then I've never been back, so whatever I did that night obviously didn't work too good, but I still got love for everybody there, and Brian Affronti, I remember him from
guy.
Yeah, from the Win days, and Constantine, from Utah.
Yeah.
And everybody, the homies. I love everybody, but yeah, I remember I did a night there, and they didn't know what they wanted, I think, at first. I remember them going like, well, we want hip-hop, but we want this, we want that. And I was all over the place. I was trying to just do what I do at other places, and I think it wasn't the time and place.
I think at that time too, they were trying to find their identity because they had a lot of EDM DJs booked, right?
Right.
But it wasn't like the top tier EDM DJs.
Right. It was like the lower level. Like, you knew who they were, but they weren't having the draw of
So the funny thing is,
something.
So they started Sunday night, which was Sundre's, and that was their hip hop night.
Right. I remember that.
So they were booking different DJs, and Brian Affronti actually asked me, he's like, yo, you want to come spin? I told him, man, I'm doing this, R&B night on Sundays right now.
Where was that?
At the Hard Rock, actually, which is now the Virgin.
Yeah.
Cool little night.
Right.
It didn't last all night, though. It was one of those events where it was over at 1, started at 8 p.m., over at 1 a.m., So we would go to Dre's after, and he was like, yo, so when you to come DJ? I was like, all right, check this out. I'll come DJ. I'll do a guest spot the first Sunday of 2015.
Okay.
I was like, I'll do it. Because prior to that, I was going there every Sunday because I'm actually an ambassador for Douce, for Jay-Z's Cognac.
Okay, yeah, I see you post that all the time.
We would go there on Sundays and do a spin, courtesy of the Douce card.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So he was like, all right, first Sunday of 2015 you're on. So,
and just for non-super industry people, basically you would have a budget from the alcohol company to go.
To go
get
spend.
A table, bring in whoever's in town to host them, spend the money.
Get some,
like
get some bottles and, the whole presentation, the whole nine.
Dope.
So from that Sunday, and they were like, hey, we want you to start coming in every weekend. And I thought to myself, I don't want to burn myself out.
Right.
I've been doing this for so long. Like,
Yeah.
I want to burn myself out. But then somebody told me, it's a different crowd every weekend.
Right.
This is not a local spot. I was like, yeah, I know that. I've been in Vegas long enough to know
I've
that.
been here. Yeah.
But then I thought to myself, I'm like, and I can really, build a residency here.
Yeah.
So from that Sunday, I was there every weekend till right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because what they also had me open up for the EDM DJs on Fridays and Saturdays when they were still booking EDM DJs.
Okay.
But
and what were you doing there?
They would have me play hip hop and R&B.
That's dope. I love that.
Reggae.
Right.
And
probably somewhat intimidating to the EDM DJs in a way where they're like, how do I follow this up?
Well, that's the thing. That's the reason.
They're not known. You know what I mean? You're playing, everyone's singing along to a Drake song or something.
That's the reason why they went hip hop all the way, is because they've finally realized that, okay, he's playing hip hop and people are spending money.
Yeah.
When the EDM DJ comes on, they're not spending any money.
Right.
It's not Calvin Harris or Tiesto up there.
Yeah, that's different.
Or Afrojack.
Yeah.
So from that point on, they started shifting. The shift was happening.
Yeah.
That's when they started booking The Weeknd, Chris Brown, Future. Like, all these artists started coming along. So it became a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing.
Right.
So really, I was only the headliner on Sunday nights until they switched. So now,
are you there every night?
Oh, I'm there every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's been like that since 2015.
Wow. I kind of knew that, but I wasn't sure. You know what
some
I mean?
people just think I'm there on Sunday nights.
Well, I remember the Sunday, and I remember I'd always look. If I was there on a Sunday, I'm like, all right, who's going to be there? It's going to be a huge artist, Lil Wayne or Future or somebody legendary is going to be there. I knew you were the DJ. I wasn't sure if they did different stuff on the other nights, but wow, that's crazy.
Unless I'm, out of town, of course.
Yeah. So do you, speaking of getting burnt out, that is a lot. Three Vegas nights a week
in a row
is like a year of a club.
Yeah.
Because they're long, they're intense. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, my sets are only like anywhere from, hour and 45 to 2,
depending on
2:15, 2:30.
Got it.
Depending on if the artist is on time.
Yeah.
Because there's been times where the artist is an hour and a half late. You know how that goes.
Yes. Yes. You got to just stay ready and just improvise and keep going and keep the crowd hyped, but not too hyped, but just hyped enough, primed, ready to go. That's crazy. Wow. So every weekend, 3 days a weekend.
Yeah.
Was not, I don't know how to say this. Like, was the pandemic in a way nice to have a break and then be able to come back?
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I learned a lot during the pandemic, so I'll never regret that.
Right. I definitely would follow you, like, see what you would post during the pandemic because you were so tapped into, like, okay, the clubs aren't open until now. Like, you're like, I'm getting this news,
Yeah.
So it was crazy to see.
I just wanted to play music for people, so that's when D-Nice started streaming. I was like, I used to stream on Ustream.
Right, so did I back in the day. I remember that.
Back in the day, man. So I was
Ustream, and there was some other one, too, I used to do. I forgot. But
what was the other one?
I don't know.
I forgot. Anyways,
but yeah, same. I was doing videos and stuff.
That started, and they started kicking off all the DJs for, copyright infringement.
Yeah, of course.
So somebody told me about Twitch. It was E-Rock.
E-Rock
was like, yo.
No, shout out to E-Rock. He was the ultimate advocate of Twitch. And Anil,
and
shout
out to Anil as well.
Shout out to Anil, for just so much support for the DJs.
Most definitely.
Way above and beyond. Yes. You know what I mean? And E-Rock being a connector as he is, as you are, I think he probably learned a lot of that from you. I feel like you guys are so connected, yourselves and then also to so many people,
Yeah.
But yeah, E-Rock's such a... He got me hooked up with Anil and everybody, with Twitch, I think.
Definitely.
That's so dope.
Twitch actually was a blessing in disguise,
Yeah.
Like.
It was amazing. I got to know, I knew who you were a lot and I'd followed you for a while, but I sort of got to know you, even though we just met today.
Yeah.
But I got to know your personality a bit more through Twitch because I would watch you for a long time or just have you on and like your musical knowledge was just so vast and incredible. Like I'm like,
and I'm
dude,
still learning.
yeah,
you know?
but
I
like
love
your
learning.
knowledge of R&B and then the connections and the hip hop and your stories with the artists and then the way you took the green screen thing to the next level and you're on a yacht and you're just doing all this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
was kind of
dude.
cool. That was all brand new. Like I said, I learned a lot during the pandemic, and using the green screen, like setting all that up. Like I did all that myself.
Right.
I
but
did
I
a
love
lot of
how
research.
you're so forward thinking, like even how you told me earlier, like when Phase came out, you were the first DJ to use Phase in Vegas, and you were probably one of the biggest and first in a lot of ways on Twitch and doing these green screens and all these things, and but you still stick to the turntables, like you do what feels genuine to you and keep all the knowledge of the old school alive, you know what I mean? But then you'll embrace new music, new technology, and all that stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I use the turntable because it's just definitely what I'm used to and what I'm comfortable with.
I still can't drop shit perfectly on the one.
I have
with
controllers. Like I have a Rev 7 and a Rain 1.
I do like the Rev 7.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Rev 7.
That I feel
it's a game changer.
So comfortable if I have to.
It's a game changer.
Crazy.
That mixer is just like that.
So dope.
It's like it's an S7.
Yeah, and having them spin around, you just feel like you can do so much.
And it's a standalone mixer.
It's crazy.
You could literally put 2 turntables right on
the side. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went off on a tangent. Forgot what we were saying. It was something about DRAI'S, I think, or
we were talking about DRAI'S and how long I've been there.
Yeah.
Just the whole shift of the EDM to the hip hop thing.
Right.
And I got to give all credit to Victor Dre, of course, Brian Afronti, the entire staff over there, Ian, who's the GM, Dustin Dre, son of Victor Dre.
Yes.
For still believing in hip hop. They didn't have to do this, but
and not being scared of it. I feel like Vegas has this whole scared of hip hop thing.
Yeah, well, I couldn't DJ on the Strip for like 5-6 years
because you were a hip hop DJ.
Yeah,
and you were associated with whoever was going to come see you.
Right, exactly.
And now look.
Yeah, everybody's booking hip hop in Vegas.
Exactly. So
it is what it is, though.
It is. No, I know, but it's just a lesson of stick to your gun, stick to what's genuine to you, and do what you think is right.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's amazing. And then so what happened, with the pandemic? Like you jump on Twitch, you start doing these things, you start growing. I know you probably, could have entered the Guinness Book of World Records or something because you did so many nights in a row.
I did 500 years. Yeah, no, I did 500 nights in a row.
Oh my God. So almost 2 years. 500 nights in a row, every night.
Every night.
Because I would go on every day, and I would see you, and I couldn't believe it. And there's a lot of dedicated people that did that, but I don't think anyone took it to your level.
Yeah, 500 nights in a row.
Wow. And you're still doing it. We were talking earlier, right?
Yeah. I'm still on. Every Monday is Ladies' Night. I play nothing but R&B. I love R&B music. And Thursday is Throwback Thursday. And I also do Boom Bap Monday, which is
I love it.
Oh man, Boom Bap Monday is so fun.
Yeah.
I'm on there every first and third Monday of the month.
Okay.
On my channel, of course.
Yeah. Shout to DJ Fly.
Yeah, DJ Fly and Audio One.
Audio One, Bay Area.
They made that happen.
I love him.
For real. We're going on DJ 3 years
Fly.
now too.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've done it a couple times. So much fun. I get to dig in my Helter Skelter records.
Right,
and all
exactly.
that,
You really get to dig in the crate. Yeah, you get to dig in the crates. Like Chunk and I were on our way here bumping, Eric B. and Rakim Paid in Full. We're like, this is one of the greatest hip hop records ever made.
Yeah.
The scratching at the end is so legendary.
So legendary.
It's evolved so much too.
I know. Speaking, I just was telling you about NAMM convention.
Yeah.
I went this weekend, and it's the 50th anniversary of hip hop.
Yes.
So they presented these awards to Chuck D, and Jazzy Jeff was up there.
One of my favorites, one of my inspirations right there. I think everybody can say, everybody who DJs, that from our era especially can say that.
I agree. Jazzy Jeff's the
one
king.
of my first pieces of vinyl was Brand New Funk.
That's amazing.
On Jive Records. I'll never forget it.
Yes.
I'll never forget it, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, he was there, and Mike Realm, Bay Area. I don't know if you know him, but
Mike, yeah. I don't know him personally, but
I used to go see him probably at Maritime Hall, like late 90s.
Wow,
at the ITF.
Maritime Hall.
I used to go to so many shows I lived up like in the Bay, like not the Bay Area. I went to Sonoma State actually from like 95 to 2000.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm from here. I grew up here.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to go to college. I want to go to a little college
Sonoma,
for my first year.
That's North Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would, and I didn't really drink or anything, and I just kind of smoked. And so I was I had the car. So I would go to I'll go to Amoeba and Rasputin, in Berkeley and San Francisco. And I'll go to, and I did college radio. So we would get free tickets to every single show at Maritime Hall and every single place in San Francisco. So I would be there every weekend, no matter where. I saw those shows where it'd be like Outkast and Goody Mob and Souls of Mischief. It'd be like
at that show.
I was too crazy.
I was right there, yeah.
And it would such a, like, thinking back on it, naming those groups, it's insane, but
I'd go see that show today.
So would I. It would be insane. So I remember seeing Mike Realm at the ITF DJ battles, wearing the suit and whatever. So he did the history of hip hop video DJ set at this thing last week. It was incredible. Like, he beyond killed it. I mean, was taking clips from YouTube and everything and putting it all together.
Wow.
But then that all led into Grand Mixer DXT doing the Herbie Hancock Rocket Scratches live, and they presented him with an award.
Is that on YouTube? I gotta find that.
It's in my phone. I'll show you after, because I was like, I'm filming this.
Oh man, that's legendary.
And hopefully it's on YouTube. But I filmed as much as I could on my phone. As much as people are like, too many phones in the venues. I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna show this to people.
Right.
And it was so cool because that's something I grew up watching on TV. Like, what is this? I don't understand it, but it's influencing me, in my life. So yeah, I don't know why something with scratches in the beginning of hip hop. I was thinking that, but, such a crazy, such a crazy thing, the 50th year of hip hop, just to see all that,
just to see how it's evolved.
Yeah.
Because remember, people didn't think it was going to be around for that long.
No, it was a fad, or it was a niche genre, or whatever it is, Yeah,
it ain't going to be here for that long, It's
and now hip hop is a worldwide culture that people belong to, in a way. Like, this is how people like us live, like everybody's like part of it, and it's all over the world, no matter what language you speak.
Most definitely.
Right?
It's universal.
Yeah.
50 years. And it's still, if you really think about it, it's still fairly a young genre of music.
Yeah, totally. Right?
If you really want to put it into perspective. Like, it hasn't been around that long.
No.
And people have made billions off of it.
Billions. Yeah. And, I mean, look, I'm at this thing watching one of the first people. Grandmaster Flash was there doing a set. You're watching the inventors of hip-hop, and they're still alive, And that's the cool thing about DJing is, like, a lot of people have passed away, and, RIP to all the legends and all the amazing DJs that aren't with us anymore. And thank you for everything, that they've done for the culture. But to be able to still be around the living legends is massive, It
really is.
We're still living in a time.
To be able to witness them. Like, I still try to catch Jazzy Jeff's set on Twitch every Saturday or Friday night.
Whenever, and I love that he brings in other DJs that he likes,
Amazing. That's another thing that Twitch definitely put me on to, is all the other dope DJs from around the world, the Puffies, the Scratch Bastards, just all these talented individuals and different styles of DJing.
Yeah.
People who playing vinyl only like that.
Right.
You guys are really working.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know how it is. We used to carry crates. Like, you guys are really over there hustling.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And it's cool to see because everybody almost opened up their own shop or something. You know what I mean? It's like when you're in New York and there's just shops everywhere, like when you walk around. Like, you have your own shop, and Scratch Bastard has his own shop, and he runs it a certain way. He does Tuesday morning coffees and the Bastard's barbecue, and, you have your ladies' night and a Throwback Thursday. And it's cool to see everybody's take on what they would do if they had their own venue, and they get their own virtual venue. Actually, someone else that was on there a lot, Wally Sparks, he wrote in. And when I asked for questions, and I just think this relates.
Shout out to Wally.
Yeah, shout out to Wally.
He's been on Twitch since 2020.
Yeah, he's been
one of those guys.
Yeah. And he asked, actually, what are your current views about DJing on Twitch compared to 2 or 3 years ago?
Oh, it's definitely dropped. But it's not about the numbers to me.
Right.
It's about the people who are available at that time to come and vibe with the family, with the chat room, with the music I'm playing.
Yeah.
It's never been the numbers to me.
Right.
You know,
That's true.
people will come up to me and be like, man, you got some big checks off Twitch. I don't even look at those checks. Like,
right. I know that was the time when everyone was like, how much is everybody making?
Right.
Bella Fiasco. You know, it was like a whole, and it was like,
it was never been in numbers to me. It's about,
Right.
it's always been the quality of people.
Yeah.
You know, of your community.
Right.
It's always
and that
quality
feeds into
over
your
quantity.
success, I think.
Yeah.
You know, people that are so worried about the numbers, it's funny because if you look, all the people that were supposedly at the top 10, top 50, whatever numbers that everyone was passing around, I think most of those people didn't care about the money. You know, they were more about making a really dope product and doing it for the music and for the people. And that leads to the money, which is another lesson I think a lot of DJs should take, because they look into how much you're going to get paid, how much do you get paid, and the rates and the things. And you're not going to have to worry about that if you do it for the right reasons and you connect with the right people.
If you do it for the love, exactly. You make the right connections. I've never been a numbers guy, like, as far as that goes, you know. I mean, if you want to talk about sports and betting, that's a whole nother thing. But
that's getting crazier than anything. That's the new Twitch.
Crazy.
Worldwide. I'm like,
you can make bets on your phone.
What is going on? It's funny, too, because I got a kid. You know, he's 10 years old. He's so into sports, and we watch everything. And it's just nonstop ads. And I'll be like, no, you can't do that, you know. And I see him and his friends trying to bet each other. And I'm like, I don't know if this is bad for the future of, like, children being like Kevin Hart, like, yo, you got to bet. You know, DraftKings. And you're like, yo, please.
You know, times have changed.
It's nuts, you know.
We didn't have cell phones when we were young.
No. I see Drake on a golf course betting $500,000 in a computer whispering or something.
And I've seen 8-year-olds with iPhone 14s. I'm still on the 12. You know, so it's like.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, times have changed.
Yeah. So yeah, Twitch has changed too, but I think you stick to it. If you're doing it for whatever reasons you're doing it for, then I think you stick to it.
I'm doing it because I've created a great community.
Yeah.
You know, that are from people all over the world.
Right.
You know, and some of these people have even came to DRAI'S.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, has that translated to your real life?
Oh, most definitely. I've met a lot of these people in person already, and it's been a blessing just to see how happy they are to meet me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 3 times as happy to meet them.
Right.
And they don't even know it. But it's been a journey, and it's been a blessing. And as long as I have that platform, I'll be on Twitch forever. Like when I say forever, I mean forever.
I hope they let it keep going. You know, there were so many times where people like, they're cracking down.
I know. I know. I've heard.
You just don't archive your videos, right?
I don't.
Is that the key?
I don't. Yeah. Well, I don't.
Supposedly.
Yeah. Supposedly that's the key.
Even though I see people that do, and they haven't been pulled off, so I don't know.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And then all those big gamers got pulled off. But yeah, I don't know. I think don't archive your videos. But then people have their own ways of doing it now with the Patreons, or Scratch Bastard has his own site for it and stuff.
Right, and they'll put it on YouTube. Like,
yeah.
I've seen different DJs do different things, but
right.
for me, it's more of a live thing. If you could catch me, cool.
Yeah.
You know, but I've had so many of my subscribers ask me, yo, you don't keep your videos up anymore.
Right.
You know, and I kind of have to tell them, well, since they're cracking down, or
right.
they say they're cracking down.
Right. Would you ever do like a extra subscription service where they could have access to the videos or something?
You know, I never thought about that.
Like the extra sub, you know, or like you got to be part of this Patreon gang or something, you know, and then you'll have them in a
But you know what?
site.
I'm going to actually probably start putting my archive videos back up just to see.
Yeah.
Because I've never been flagged before. I know a couple of people who've been flagged.
Yeah.
But I've never been flagged, so
interesting.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So what about, you know, I know that you're, you know, very connected to like so many artists, you know, and I think your relationships are so strong, and that, you know, that's brought so much amazing success to both sides, the artists and you know, and I think it's important for artists to be cool with DJs, and we're the ones out there, you know, supporting them. And I know you're close with Drake, and he's, you know, shouted you out on multiple songs, and I heard some stories about him recording the motto at your studio, and, you know, you giving him the Bay Area influences, right, and all that stuff. I want to talk about that, but before we get into that, have you seen this thing thing that's blowing up over the past few days on the internet, the Ghost Rider thing.
Oh, the AI thing?
Where the dude took the AI and
Yeah.
supposedly put Drake and The Weeknd on a song, put it out. When my friend sent it to me, it had, I think, 1,500 streams. Then we checked it that night. It had like 20,000. Then it had 250,000. Like, it's been blowing up, and now
I've heard it. I've definitely heard it.
What is your take on that?
Like I said, times are changing. You know, technology is crazy.
Is that, I mean, I guess it's real. It sounds.
I guess Universal's trying to crack down on it too.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's so crazy.
I knew it was coming. Put it that way.
Part of me is wondering, is Drake underneath that sheet and doing this? Is this a marketing ploy?
He's actually pissed off about it.
Because it sounds too real. It sounds very real, that one.
He's pissed off about that.
He is.
Oh, yeah. He's had enough. He posted it on the story. He posted
some last night, right?
Yeah. He's like, this is enough. This is the last final straw.
I saw that. Okay.
Yeah.
But
he's pissed
part
off.
of me was like,
you heard that? The Munch? It was the Munch version, right? Is that the one you heard?
No. There's a new one.
Oh, yeah. The one you're talking about is the one with Drake and Weeknd.
Original song.
With the dude who has
the
a
dude
ghost.
wearing a sheet and like Kurt Cobain sunglasses.
But Drake was pissed off about
he has
Ice Spice.
Drake rapping Ice Spice.
Yeah, you heard that one?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This one's even crazier because it's an original beat and an original lyrics and song, I guess.
Yeah, no,
but it sounds pretty damn real. I don't know how they did it.
Oh, it sounds real.
Like, what is going on? You know, I wonder what's gonna happen. You know, it's just crazy.
It's gonna be some features out there pretty soon.
But what's the point of it at the end of the day if you can't really sell the song or promote the feature?
I think people are going to start calling it out, though, you know?
Yeah.
Like, are you really going to buy that?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Are DJs going to play it? I think that's a question because DJs play anything popular. You know what I mean? So many DJs, it can be the worst thing on the face of the earth. And the DJs are like, well, people want to hear it. I'm like, you don't have to play it, you know?
I've never played Munch in a club before.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I've never played that song.
It's not that I don't like it. I mean, it's cool and I see how it's catchy. But I think that's another thing that DJs do is they go, man, this song's #1. It's not working in the club. Yeah, you don't need to play every #1 song in the club. Like Taylor Swift's been #1 forever. I don't play it. You know what I mean? Like you don't. You're a DJ. You can do whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Facts.
You can play a Jay-Z song from 20 years ago. It's going to hit way harder than any #1 song today.
No lie right there.
Right? Like,
no lie.
No matter what.
I think after COVID, too, I noticed it a lot. And I've talked to other DJs. They say the same things. The stuff from 20 years ago is hitting harder than any of the new stuff.
The
15 years ago.
The 8 to 12 year ago, we're in this weird window of 8 to 12 years. Yeah. Because I don't know if it's because those people are now like 30 and they were 21 and they're having memories of like Promiscuous Girl and like Chris Brown songs and Lil Wayne and the old Drake. The
older Drakes, yeah.
Because they go
the T-Pains.
Crazy. T-Pain, it's like it's bigger than when it came out. Songs that when I was the opener or when I was opening for myself or when I was doing a long set, the songs I would play in the first 2 hours of my set are now the biggest songs in the main part of my set. You know, it's crazy. Like, and they're singing everything, right?
Facts. And nostalgic shit is like, it works way better.
Yeah.
It takes you back to that time once again.
It's the timeline thing, you know, and that's the thing. It makes these 30-year-olds who now have money.
I mean, I play 1,000 miles at DRAI'S and they go crazy.
That's crazy.
Go right into Juvenile, back that ass up, and they'll lose it.
Juvenile, back that ass up. Never will die. No. Like, you know what I mean? It has just as much energy as as when I had it on vinyl and I'm playing it off.
It's the same thing as like, I seen a couple Twitter DJs talking about, oh man, we gotta cancel Dreams and Nightmares. Play it out.
No way.
That song will never die.
Never.
Ever. Can We Talk by Tevin Campbell? Never.
Never.
People saying, oh man, you guys are playing that too much.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Right. Just because you see that online, you're not in the real life and seeing what's happening, you know, when we're playing that stuff.
Right.
Like I try not to get into any of those Twitter debates because I just feel like everybody's different. You guys have no idea what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. You've never been in my shoes before.
No. And everything's different.
Everything is different. Every crowd is different.
Yeah.
Just everything is different. Yeah.
And music is timeless. You know what I mean? Don't put an expiration date on this stuff.
No, yeah, for real.
Like, it can get played out, I guess. But, like, I remember, like, Gnarls Barkley Crazy when that was so big. And then it felt like when everyone stopped playing it, it was like, oh, I can never play it again.
Right.
Like, it got played out.
Right.
That'll probably come back now or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I've heard people singing that in karaoke.
Yeah. I feel like it's ready to come back.
Yeah.
That's oh my God. Well, so yeah. Oh, well, so okay. So we talked about the AI thing, but it's crazy because I listened to you on so many podcasts, and I didn't want to kind of tell a lot of the same stories. But you have so many legendary stories. I mean, it's unbelievable, and people just really need to know. Like you said, you heard your cousin playing Planet Rock back in the day. This was what, the late '80s or something.
Yeah.
And you've been DJing since you were what, a pre-teenager?
I got my first pair of turntables when I was 12.
Wow, and that was in the Bay Area.
That was in the Bay. It was a pair of Scott turntables. I'll never forget.
Scott.
The pitch was the rolling pitch. You know what I mean? I didn't get my techniques. My dad bought me those pair of Scotts. He also bought me my first pair of 1200s.
Wow.
When I turned 16.
Crazy.
And I still have those turntables.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man.
That's so dope. And then, so how did it progress from there? Like, how did you go, okay, I want to do this for real and end up on the radio? And
So I was a fan of this radio station named KMEL.
Legendary. Like I said, I lived up there, and I would have to put my antenna in this weird curvy way where we were to be able to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'd listen to, who was it, Kevy Kev or somebody?
Kev.
In the 90s would do that show where
hip-hop.
And the DJ, who was it? He was so ill, like so clean with it, doing doubles of every under.
Joe Quicks, Prince Ice.
Maybe it was. He would be doing the cleanest doubles on vinyl, and
Revolution used to play too.
Well, Revolution too,
Yeah,
Wake Up Show. But
yeah.
this was different. It was Kevy Kev and somebody. But yeah, so dope. KMEL.
KMEL. So that started out. I got an intern. I was always a fan of the radio station.
Right.
Back in those days, we listened to the radio.
Yes.
We had no options. We didn't have a phone to stream music.
Of course.
We didn't have YouTube.
Yeah.
We had to listen to the radio.
Right.
My parents didn't have money to buy all the music I wanted.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I was a fan of this station called KMEL. Somebody I knew was like, "Oh, I could bring you up to the station, have you meet the DJs." The DJs already knew who I was because I would call in and make requests and ask them, "Yo, can I be a guest DJ? Can I introduce a song?" So I met one of the DJs, and I think my second time there, she was like, "Hey, you want to help me intern?" I'm 12 years. No,
12.
I'm 13, going on 14 at the time.
Still, that's crazy.
I'm like, man, this is an opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Way to get my foot in the door.
Right.
So that turned into that.
Amazing.
The next year, I had my first mix played.
Wow.
Yeah. By the time I was 16, I had my own show. I was on air while I was in high school. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I've been in it ever since.
Right. And was that a kind of a big way for you to connect with artists, rappers or whoever?
Oh, most definitely. Organically, though.
Right, organically,
no pressure.
Yeah, totally.
I met anybody I remember when Tupac used to beg Sway to play his records on the Wake Up Show.
That's crazy.
I remember Biggie and Craig Mack with their Big Mac tour for Bad Boy back in '94 when I first met Biggie and Craig Mack at a Uno's Pizzeria in San Francisco.
Wow.
Yeah. First time I ever smoked with Biggie the same night with him and Little C's. Little C's was like, 16, 15 years old at the time?
Oh, my God. How old are you?
Rolling blunts for Biggie. I was 17.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Damn, smoke sessions with Biggie Smalls.
Oh, man. I remember selling Eazy-E a 20 sack. I don't think I've ever told anybody that story.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What happened?
He smelled weed on me when I was interviewing him.
Right.
I was like, we'll talk off the air.
Oh, my God. That's unreal.
At that time, too, times have changed. We're talking about the 90s here.
I remember being scared, to drive with something, from Sonoma down to San Francisco to go to the show, and you wanted to have a joint for the show or something, you know what I mean?
Oh,
now you're driving, there's billboards everywhere you look, what I mean? You're like, it's just everywhere you go. It's so prevalent, you know, and accepted. And
most definitely.
It's like anybody, soccer
That's
moms.
another thing.
eating
A lot of the
edibles.
artists that used to smoke, they would hear from other artists, oh, when you go to San Francisco, make sure you hook up with this guy named Franzen.
Right.
You know, he'll show you the good weed.
Well, because it was the West Coast was the best in the world. If
Mecca,
you weren't going to
still
Amsterdam,
is, yeah.
it still is. I still think it's probably better than like Amsterdam or any of that. You know
Anywhere
what I mean? I still tell everybody.
California has the best weed in the world.
Because I remember they'd be like, oh, Mendocino and Humboldt, you know, and then it would all travel down to the Bay. And from there, it was also British Columbia and all that was up there, too. So it was just that, I don't know what it's called, Green Triangle or, you know, whatever it is. But it's always been the best
Mecca.
of the
It's
best.
been the Mecca for a long time.
Yeah.
You know.
And it would travel down here, too. You know, growing up here, it was
That's the thing. Growing up in the Bay, we had our lingo.
Yes.
We had the slanguage going on.
I mean, E40, you're so good at that. You know what I mean?
Oh, man, I learned from the best. I learned from E40.
Yeah.
People don't talk about it, but E40, you know, he got a lot of his slang from his cousin, Max Sean.
Oh, wow.
And also a guy by the name of Big Squeezer, who's from San Francisco.
Big Squeezer.
Yeah, Squeezer, man. Max Squeeze. That's his name, Max Squeeze.
That's
I used
incredible.
to call him Big Squeeze. But,
wow.
You know, a lot of lingo you hear nowadays is influenced by the Bay.
Right. Oh,
you know?
huge, yeah.
I remember coming to L.A., you know, in the 80s and 90s and saying hella. They're like, what's hella?
I know.
What are you saying? What's hella? Now I hear everybody use. People on the East Coast using it. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So
yeah, that was the thing. Me moving up there and going to college, I met someone at Jake Pashinsky, and he became my college roommate. One of my best friends. We're still homies. Talk every day, you know, to this day. And he put me on to all the Bay stuff. You know what I mean? Because I was so into hip hop, but I was just trying, you know, listening to New York stuff, LA stuff. I didn't know anything about Bay Area hip hop. He's like, you got, you know, my favorite tape right here, you know, E40, Brother Lynch Hung, Mac Mall, you know, like just so much crazy stuff. And I'm like, what is this? You know, horror rap and, you know.
That's the thing about music, you know, you learn.
Oh,
like I'm pretty sure when you travel to different regions, different parts of the world, different countries, like you're gonna ask a DJ from that area, like, yo, what do I have to play?
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
That used to be the most, like, no matter what. I would always do that. I remember DJ AM, like, I would see him do that. You know, anywhere we went, he'd be like, I'm going to ask the opening DJ, like, what are the big songs? What's hitting? What's this? You know, and I was like, oh, I got to do that. You know, so, yeah, you're like, what's big out here? Now, a lot of the answers are like, same old shit. You know, and you're like, okay, because the internet, you know.
Because of the internet. Times have changed.
Yeah, I remember not being, like, I would go to Chicago, and I'd play Blow the Whistle here, Vegas, Bay Area. I was like, what's my favorite word? You know, biggest record in the world. And I remember being in Chicago and playing it. It was like, what's my favorite word? Silence. You know, and I was like, what the hell? Like, because the internet wasn't that big yet. It was MySpace days. It hadn't spread around, you know, and now it's huge. You could probably play it there.
Yeah, like I remember back in those days, you know, I would hit up Dre Sinatra or Big Chunk and be like, yo, what record's popping in L.A. right now that we might not know in Vegas or the Bay Area?
Yes.
You know, you have to do your research.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid to ask questions.
No, and we're always learning, and you're always, you know, I mean, that's the whole thing of music and DJing, all that stuff. Oh man, there's like so many things I want to ask you about, you know.
Go ahead, sure.
Well, the other thing, just to talk about weed, just not to get fully, you know, give weed its credit, but I feel like that's also a connector in the way music is. You know what I mean?
1,000,000%.
Right? It's almost like the way hip hop and music.
Weed is equal to food.
Right.
Weed is equal to music.
People that are into weed, you know, and know the details of the tastes and the types and the things that people are into.
It's universal.
You know? Yes.
It brings people together.
It
just
really
like
does.
Food, just like music.
Because you can meet people all over the world that even barely speak the language, and you can really relate to them on music, food, and weed. I think
that's it.
That's the trifecta.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. You know, before I even moved to Vegas, like, I never used to drink hard liquor.
Really?
Yeah. Until I moved to Vegas, turned me out.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. I hated drinking, too, till I got into clubs. I remember it was, like, in my mid-20s in L.A., and I was like, we're doing a shot, you know, Patron. And I was like, oh, this tastes horrible. What is this? You know, I guess I'll do it.
I remember I used to do Scooby snacks when I first moved to Vegas. I'm like, man, give me a Scooby snack.
What is that?
Some sort of sweet shot.
Right. lemon drops and all that.
and then I was like, you know what? Let me try this Patron. It was over with from there. Started drinking Belvedere and Patron. It was over with from there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I heard a story you were telling of being on your first private jet with Jay-Z or something.
Yeah, that'll be 20 years this year.
Oh my God,
that was back in 2003. I'll never forget that.
That's nuts. And so you have such a connection with him from back in the day, right?
Yeah. Whenever he used to come to the radio station, like he would always see me.
Yeah,
I would always interview him.
Right.
And it wasn't just him; it was the people around him.
Yeah.
That I kept in contact with as well.
Right.
From his promotion guy at Rockefeller to his right-hand man.
Right.
I would just, keep in contact with everybody. To his new artist, to Memphis Bleak. Like, Memphis Bleak will tell me to this day, man, you're the first DJ to ever say, roll up at a radio station, live on an interview.
Wow.
He tells everybody that story. He'll never forget that.
That's dope.
So, yeah, that happened in 2003. I was already living in Vegas at the time.
Right.
Went to the Bay to go check out the show out there. It was the Rock the Mic tour.
Okay.
It was him, Beanie Siegel, Bleak, Freeway. 50 was on that tour as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I knew the next show was in Vegas, but I hopped in this vehicle in a Sprinter.
Yeah.
And I didn't know where we were going. Next thing you know, we were at the private airport. I had asked him, like, yo, where are we going? Or where's this going? I didn't have nothing on me. My keys, my bag was in my brother Gino's car. I'm like, yo. He's like, we're going to Vegas. You want to hop on? Let's go.
That's crazy.
I was like, you got room for me? He did a head count. He's like, come on. I got you.
Oh, my God.
So we hopped on a jet, and I was in Vegas. I didn't have my keys to my house that night. And he got he got me a room. I'll never forget that.
That's crazy.
The next day I had my keys in my bag.
Oh my God.
And went to the show the next night.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Damn. And that's your first private jet experience.
And he had crustaceans on the jet.
No.
And bottles of Cristal.
What?
I'll never forget it, man.
That's unreal.
Yeah, that's the big homie for real. Like, one of my biggest
always
inspirations.
Been supportive of DJs, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
actually, we just left his office. We just left the Rock Nation office.
Oh, really?
Before we came here, yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when he tapped Neil Armstrong to be his DJ.
Neil, AM.
And Neil Armstrong was
Green
known
Lantern.
for these mixtapes of the samples. Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And the AM thing is insane because I remember I was with AM eating food late night in New York, and it's like me, him, maybe Morse code, like somebody, and we're all eating food. All this crazy shit happened that night. And then we all left to go away. And I remember he was like, oh, I'm going to South Carolina to do a show with Travis Barker. And we got a private jet. And he was so hype. I feel like it was one of his first times on a private jet too.
And that's when that
happened. He was like so hype about it. And then I was going to Chicago to DJ. And I remember we went, and that's when the plane crash happened. And he was supposed to DJ for Jay-Z at the Palladium. It was going to be the first show he ever played with him, and they were like working up to it. I was this whole thing. And I remember being like, damn, he's not going to be able to do the show with Jay-Z because he's in the hospital in Georgia or something. And he said, no, I'm going to do it. And we were like, you can't do it, And he ended up flying out, took pills or whatever to get over it, but flew out from Georgia to L.A. and got on stage at the Palladium with like half his hair burned off.
I remember that.
And bandages. And even Jay-Z was like, yo, I told my man he didn't have to do this, but he came out, like, give it up. He gave a whole speech about him. And I remember being there like, this is insane. We were in the front watching AM, and he had AM do some crazy routine. And Jay was so cool about the whole thing. He's such for how huge he is, such a down-to-earth, genuine person that, in a way, and seems to respect DJs, music, and all that stuff,
He'll never forget, like, I was one of the first DJs to play his records.
Right.
And I told him, why I played your record? Because you mentioned Filipinos in the song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You mentioned, my coach bag looking half black and Filipino. I was like, yo, you really gave it up.
That's dope.
Filipinos love that. I'm Filipino. I told him.
Yeah.
And he never forgot that.
Wow.
So that was a connection right there off his first album too.
That's incredible.
In 1996. Crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah, that show he just did in Paris looked cool. I was seeing clips.
Louis Vuitton show for
Wow.
Basquiat and who was it?
I think that was it, right?
It was Basquiat.
Basquiat. I don't know. I saw some clips from it though. It looked pretty amazing.
Yeah.
He's like in this circular venue and stuff.
Super dope.
That's amazing. And also you do a lot of edits and remixes and stuff, right?
Yeah, actually, I got to talk to Phenom. We got to put him up on DJ City.
I was gonna say, like, where do you put those out, or how do you get them?
Actually, I
see them online. I'm like, sounds dope.
I put a couple of them. You know, I dropped the link on my Instagram.
Okay.
And put a Dropbox link on there so people can download it. But I haven't really gave them out to any major major pools. So DJ City will definitely get the first batch.
Okay, yeah, we need that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Would you get in, or have you gotten into music production?
I've been producing for years. I've been hoarding my beats though. I don't know why.
Would you ever put together a project that's sort of representative of your life in a way, like all your relationships and everything like coming to fruition, and your musical timeline?
I've been asked, you should put a project together.
Yeah.
Grab some of the artists. Artists would love to.
I know.
Would love to do it too. I'm thinking about maybe making that happen this year.
Yeah.
But what I got to do is I got to go to my studio and I probably got 200-300 beats that I've done. This is pre-pandemic too.
Right.
And I got to just, add a little bit more sauce in them and start sending them out.
Right.
I mean, this podcast is you're inspiring me to do it. So,
well, yeah, good. Please,
this is it right here.
Yeah.
So I think I'll put whether
it's
whether
the
it be a
timeline,
mixtape
baby.
or just
it's from beginning to end.
Yeah,
like you have so many things.
I do, and also I have a lot of beats that I sampled and chopped too. Beats that I love. Yeah. And just put my own sauce on it. So.
Right, because that's where the knowledge is so powerful in DJing, and specifically your musical knowledge can be brought into the game in such a crazy way because so many things that have been sampled or that worked 20 years ago that could be brought back. We've seen so many of these Lil Jon beats, that are being brought back for Saweetie and, songs that we play 20 years ago and now they're huge and kids don't even realize what they're coming from.
Right.
I mean, so many of that. And I even have A&Rs hitting me all the time like, yo, any old songs that we could redo, and I'm like,
wow.
I don't know. So like, I'll be like, well, this is big now, or this comes from this. And I feel like that's a thing now. Like the A&Rs are trying to look back at the peak, because they want songs that'll be hits for 20-year-olds or whatever it is, So I think you could bring a lot to the table. It would be incredible.
I said, I'm inspired right now, so thank you.
Yeah, because you could have your own show and showcase at DRAI'S a night, you know what I mean, where it's your songs. And
definitely.
Was watching Calvin Harris at Coachella this weekend. I saw the YouTube clip, and it was pretty dope watching him play almost everything. He made every single thing, and this crowd of 1 billion people singing every word, and some of it he's singing and it was crazy. And I'm thinking we should some other genre DJs should be able to do that.
And for the record, like Calvin Harris does not make EDM music.
No, he makes music.
He makes world music.
Yeah, he makes.
You know what I mean?
Just quality.
I'm a
music.
fan of his too. I love his. I love his stuff.
No, and
because
you can
he's
hear
tapped into a lot of other stuff too as well.
Yes.
He
really
that
has
Slide
now.
record is still one of my favorite records in the world.
I love that record. I play it.
I
all
can play
the
the
time.
instrumental.
The instrumental is dope.
Unbelievable.
I got a dope blend. Nick Bike just sent me a blend of it over that Drake, like a dance hall song where Drake's featured on Popo Can. I don't know how
Pop
you say
Can.
it. Pop Can. Sorry.
Okay.
Pop Can Drake song. That
The
beat.
Weekend done. Yeah.
Yeah. They put slide over it, and it's like perfect. Like it's meant to be. I've been playing that more than the original one now.
Dope.
And it works like in like a lounge
is it on
spot.
DJ City?
No, it's just on Nick Bike's Patreon page,
Oh,
you know.
okay.
But it's pretty ill. Like I play it at the floor room spot I do every week, and gets people dancing because they know, you know, it's like I might, but like it comes in perfectly on the dance hall beat.
Oh, I need
so,
to hear that.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
sorry,
definitely.
Nick, but I'll give it to you.
Sorry, Nick.
Sorry, Nick. No, he gives his shit out to the right people.
Shout out to Nick.
Yeah, Nick Bike, always killing it. Oh man. So let me see if there's any other. Someone wrote in. They asked if you'll be streaming on Kick anytime soon.
You know, a couple of people have told me about Kick.
What is that? I've heard of it, but
it's another streaming platform where DJs and actually that dude Aiden Ross, he's like one of the biggest streamers.
I
on
found
Twitch.
him through Twitch just
Yeah.
from like in the discovery. I'm like,
Right.
why does this guy have 400,000 people watching or
Right.
some weird number?
So he got banned from Twitch and he moved to Kick. But I guess they're still in beta.
Oh, he did? That's crazy. I saw the whole band thing.
Yeah,
I didn't even know who he was. I had
It's
to
still
Google
in
him.
beta version though.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not all the way there yet.
Right.
I think once they
There's so much
fine-tune, once they start fine-tuning everything, I'll look into it.
What about that amp? Amazon.
Oh, I haven't.
That seems pretty dope. That seems like something you might actually really kind of kill it on.
Uh,
It's a live streaming app. Like I saw A-Track.
That's the one you were telling me about. Yeah, Big Chunk told me
Yeah,
about that.
so it's called
And he
Amp.
told me about that a minute ago.
Me too, but I've just started seeing. Like I saw it a little while ago. I kind of forgot about it. Then I saw A-Track this week. Like, check my Amp show, and I just tune in, and he's just on there. You can call in, and you can write in, and it's live.
He told me about that
It's
months
crazy.
ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay, I'm
that's
gonna look into that.
another thing.
Yeah.
Because it feeds into the radio, and we haven't even really discussed that much. I don't want to keep you for too long, but how radio, you know, I was saying earlier, you're the king of Twitch, Vegas clubs, you know, radio, like so many things, and like your experience in radio is just so huge, and that must feed into your streaming and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, just props to everything you've done in the DJ world and everything you bring to the culture, and
Thank you,
just
bro.
how you're constantly progressing, and you
it's a
care about
blessing.
everybody. You know what I mean?
You know, it's a blessing, man. I know there's tons of people out there that love to be in my spot, but at the same time, I know that I was put on this earth
Yeah.
to do what I'm doing right now.
Yes.
And I can't take it for granted.
Yeah.
Because time is limited.
Right.
Most valuable thing in the world.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got to keep this moving. And I've always said, as long as it's fun, it's still fun, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, what do you think, what makes a dope DJ to you?
There's a lot of different elements to that, but I think just being passionate about the music and just knowing how the music flows.
Yes.
You know? Because there's people out there that can definitely DJ.
Right.
But
maybe they're not alert, or
they're not alert, and sometimes they'll mix out of the verse, which is cool for parties. Like, I get it for parties, but if you're making a body of work, say like a mix, or you know, you don't want to mix like you're mixing at a party, unless you're making an actual mix for a party.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
they're just way to get in and out of things. Like, I mean, I don't use a lot of sound effects when I'm DJing.
Really?
You know,
you're on the mic a lot though, right?
Yeah, not a lot. Not as much as a East Coast DJ, because you know those East Coast DJs.
It's way different.
Woo! They're on that mic. Not every song.
It's like karaoke sometimes.
Exactly. But
but you know how to use the mic in a way to command the crowd, but not overtake it or something.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. I'm not afraid. You know, I'm not afraid to get after it.
Yeah.
I know some DJs are like, yo, when I go to a spot and they're DJing, yo, hop on the mic for me.
Right.
I don't mind that. You know, give them some encouragement and give them some props.
Right.
But I do the same. Like, say if Dre Sinatra comes to Dre's, yo, come hop on the mic, because it's fun hopping on the mic with him.
Yeah.
Because he knows my style, and
totally
he knows where I'm going, and I could tell him certain things, and he could do the build up for me.
Yeah.
You know, just to make it fun.
Yeah, he's so dope. I got to get him on the show.
People feed off your energy, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, there's DJs that just look at the computer screen.
Right.
Like, it's cool. We have to look at our computer screens, but not for the whole set.
No.
You want to look at people and point at people and dance with people.
Yes.
You know, you want to actually groove with them and put your drink up. Let's take the shot together.
Exactly.
People like that.
Right.
know?
They feed off your energy. It's a
Yeah.
real two-way street. And if you're too caught up in your own thing or nervous or whatever it is, it's going to show through.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. No, even last night I played and someone hit me today and they're like, yeah, my friend said you were pointing at him the whole time. Like, I don't remember that. But I'm like, all right, if that's what they got out of it,
Cool,
you know,
yeah.
like you feel involved and engaged.
Right.
What about, before we get out of here, like, what about, you know, we talked about you maybe doing an album or putting the beats out. Like, do you have, you know, and we've also talked about you doing so much up to this date. Do you have any other goals or things that you've always wanted to do in the DJ or music world or outside of that?
Most definitely. I've never really got a chance to travel the world and play music in other countries. You know, I've been to Canada. I've been to, you know, the Bahamas. I've been to the Dominican Republic.
Right.
I've been to London.
Have you DJed in Asia or?
Never DJed in Asia, so
wow,
that's my
incredible.
goal. One thing I said.
What about Philippines?
Never DJed in the
How's
Philippines.
that possible?
Right? So one thing I told
you'd
myself
be
this year
in Japan, like you'd be
this
huge.
year, I'm gonna travel.
Yeah.
Whether it be for DJing or just for my own good, I need to travel because I've been working so much that I haven't really took 2 weeks for myself in a very long time.
I mean,
maybe even 3 weeks for myself.
Yeah, I think you
and
should.
Go to Japan. Go to, you know, I'm Filipino, so I'd love to go back to the motherland.
That'd be amazing.
You know, go eat the street food.
Yeah.
Go to Thailand, you know, stuff like that. But one thing I definitely want to get done is travel before I'm out of here.
Yes.
You know,
whether it's traveling for fun or getting to DJ in these spots, you know.
Doesn't matter. I have to travel.
You got to tap
for
into
my own good, for my mental health.
Yeah.
I have to travel for sure.
I mean, that's a beautiful thing about DJing as a whole, but also DJ City. Shout to just the network that Phenom, Edwin, and all these guys and women, you know, have put together. Like, I went to Europe last summer because my kid plays soccer, and he was going to be in these tournaments in Spain. And I'm like, who do I hit up? And, like, Edwin's like, hit Boromir, hit this person, you know, and we get on the WhatsApp, and I'm like, yo, I'm going to be in Madrid. I got you, gig. Okay, go to Ibiza, go to, you know, and it's like crazy just how I don't even know these people, but we all are cool with each other because of DJing and having the similar interests.
Music
and,
connects everybody. It goes back to
the food, music, and weed.
All universal.
And all those things are in Europe and everywhere, you know. Maybe harder to get in Asia.
Exactly.
But
yeah, for real. Unless you're in Thailand.
Yes. Yeah, it's legal. The whole country's
legal.
They're
going crazy in Thailand.
What is going on?
They just had a Rolling Loud.
Oh, my God.
And they were selling weed at Rolling Loud in Asia.
I did not even put that together until because I saw people doing it in Wiz Khalifa and everything. I didn't even put together that weed is fully legal there.
Yeah.
I heard they gave plants to like every citizen or something.
Like,
I don't know. There was some.
And then you take like a 4 or 5 hour flight to Japan or China.
Yeah.
And they're hiding you under the jail if you get caught with it.
Right. That's what's so crazy. That's crazy that here everyone's smoking it outside and then you go to Dubai or somewhere and you're just done.
Yeah.
The like Esco story and all that stuff.
Crazy.
Amazing. Yo, I guess, do you have any other kind of last words for the DJs listening out there? Motivational, inspirational stuff?
You know, just don't give up. Yeah, I know it sounds cliche, but if you believe in yourself, everything is possible.
Yeah.
I'm living proof. You know, music saved my life, and I'm here to say, if you want to become a DJ or producer, whatever it may be, it's possible. It's never too late. You know, it's never too late in life.
Yeah.
Especially with this music shit, man. It's inspiring. You know, there's people out there willing to help you, and don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to go to YouTube and learn, because YouTube is a real university.
Yes.
During that pandemic, I learned a lot.
A lot.
You know, sometimes our pride gets in the way, like, man.
Right.
I don't want to go on YouTube. And no. Guess what? How else are you going to learn?
Yeah. That's true.
You can't wait on it.
Yeah.
You got to go for it.
All the best people on this show have said that. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions and connect with people.
Yeah.
You know,
relationships are important too.
Huge.
You know, and I love putting people on.
Yeah.
You know, that's why when certain DJs come to DRAI'S, that DJ for artists, I'll tell them, yo, go ahead and take, 10, 15 minutes, play a couple songs.
Yeah.
I'll be like, for real? Rock. Go ahead. Rock for a minute.
Right.
You know, I'm not afraid to do that.
To them, that's a huge thing, you know.
Yeah. So, especially if you've been around, if you've been doing this, for a long time, encourage thy youth, encourage the youngins that's coming up, and don't be afraid to let them shine.
That's
sure.
huge. Great note to end on. Everybody check Franzen out. I know your social media is different on different things. Frandelay Bay.
Frandelay Bay on Instagram. DJ Franzen on Twitch, and DJ_Franzen on Twitter.
Yes.
And I do not have a Facebook. Just trying to stay away from all the family drama, because you know how that could get.
Oh, yeah. That's not the family.
Yeah, no, not the family drama, the family drama.
Yes, yeah. And I'm sure if you
all
just
your nosy ass aunties and uncles out there.
Yeah, you got to keep that on private.
You're not married yet?
You're like, I live in Vegas. Come on.
Right, exactly.
Amazing. Yo, thank you for taking the time. Thank
Spider,
you for everything
thanks for having me, man.
Yes.
I appreciate you and everybody at DJ City, everybody at Beatsource, man.
Yeah.
Much love, man.
Thank you. All right. Peace.
Thank you.
All right, DJ Franzen, thank you for coming on the show. That was incredible. Love learning all that stuff. I feel like we could have talked for a really long time. Thank you guys, the Beatsourcers, for tuning in. You know this is available on all platforms. You want to watch it on YouTube, you want to listen on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else you get podcasts. Tune in, and thank you for listening. The 20 Podcast is produced by Beatsource, so join us next week for more interviews as we discuss music that matters to DJs. I'm DJ Spider signing off. Peace.